David Lai is here this morning. We're really excited to have him here. He's the CEO, founder, and creative director of Hello Design. And our name tag today asks who your dream client would be, which was inspired by Hello's roster of clients, which is just amazing. From everyone from Herman Miller here to Martha Stewart to Sony to Tillamook. He's won numerous design awards, including the Cannes Cyber Lion, Flash Film Festival, Arrows, One Show Pencil, Webby. And his designs have been featured all over the place: ID, Communication Arts, How, Print, etc. So we're really looking forward to seeing what he has in store for us today. So please welcome David Lai.
Hello, good morning. So I'm gonna see, I have to hold all of these little things this morning. That's a little microphone, so sorry if it looks a little funny. So first off, thanks to John and Sorrentha for introducing me to John. So as you know, this is my name. I'll be giving you my contact info later after this talk if you want to continue talking to me. So to start off with, Hello's digital agency, I started with another guy named Hiran Iwa back in January of '99. So this is our 13th year, so we've been around for a while. We always joke that's like 100 years in internet time. And we really, if there's any reason this is here, it's really the fact that, we talk about this idea of creating things that are useful, usable, and desirable. And it's sort of our guiding principles, things that have purpose, things that are intuitive and easy to use, and things that have emotional connection. So it's something we truly believe in. This is everything we do. Don't worry, I'm not going to go through this line by line. In short, it means we do anything in the digital realm. So anything from websites to mobile applications to touch screens, social media. And we view it as a living model, meaning that we view all these things sort of work together as opposed to sort of just doing one piece. We really believe these pieces need to integrate. And so we work with our clients really on an ongoing basis versus sort of one-off projects. We work with them ongoing because things are constantly changing in this digital space. So these are some of our clients, and I was going to show you some work today, but we're digital agency of record for Herman Miller, and so thanks for them again for letting us be here. For Tillamook Cheese, they make really tasty cheese, and a bunch of other clients. And I'll talk more about some of the nonprofit work too that we do. We're working with Sesame Workshop. We've worked with a lot of museums here in Los Angeles and even outside, MoMA, and so forth. right, so what you just saw there was our reel. It's work that we've done. We started in '99, so this is our 13th year. So that's sort of a good sort of overview, sort of the breadth of work that we've done. I'm only going to run through 2 more sort of case studies and sort of go a little bit more in depth. I mean, that was just sort of a good glimpse of the breadth of stuff we do. But for the sake of this sort of conversation, I wanted to sort of show you how deep we go with our clients. So Tillamook is one of our agency of record clients, and so I want to start off with sort of giving you some behind the scenes stuff. So this is proof that, you know, we actually go to the farms and, you know, we go to the factories, and, you know, we do this for all our clients. So whether you're a museum or you're a high-end golf, you know, retailer, we'll go to the factories, we'll talk to the heads of R&D, and, you know, in this case we went to the farms and, you know, got to meet the cows and, you know, go to the cheese factory. We actually went out on the farms, literally. We bought these boots. We're really glad we got those. So I'm going to start sort of picking up the pace because I have a lot that I want to show you guys. But what I wanted to do was really sort of talk about what we do for our clients. So this is a good example for Tillamook. We did do their website, but we've done a lot of other things for them. And so to sort of talk about how that works, this is a good example. So a lot of food sites basically, you know, if you look at like Kraft or these big sort of companies, Kraft doesn't even make cheese actually. They just buy it from other people and put their label on it. Tillamook's farmer owned, so basically they own the cows and they own the factory and they do everything. So one of the things that we want to do was, since they were very much about quality, was we wanted to create something that sort of showed quality, not quantity. And so a lot of these food sites just have a ton of recipes, you know, thousands of recipes. And we thought, you know, we can do that too, but, you know, I'm not sure if that's the right thing. So for example, there was a cookbook and we were flipping through it, there was like cheese balls and things like that. And we're like, who makes this? So what we did is we pitched this idea called Tillamook Kitchen, where we'd actually go out and find recipes that you'd really want, and chefs that were actually authentically and already using Tillamook cheese. And so that was the idea, that we'd start with maybe like 30 recipes. And out of the 30 recipes, every one of them had to be really good and really desirable. And we also did these profile videos where basically you get to learn about who these chefs are. Because the reality is, you may know that San Francisco Heidi Gibson's amazing, but if you live in New York, you may be like, who's Heidi Gibson? So I'm going to just show you one of those videos. So this is one of the profiles that we did for the grilled cheese truck here in LA.
I'm Dave Danhai, President Chef of the Grilled Cheese Truck. I started cooking when I was 14 years old, worked my way up. I was an exec chef in Los Angeles for many years, mainly white tablecloth, and then entered the Grilled Cheese Invitational, which is a grilled cheese contest that happens out here in Los Angeles every year, and realized that there was a huge need for grilled cheese. There's a big fanatical following for it. So I decided this is the best way to get it to the public. On the truck, at a single stop, we can sell up to about 800 sandwiches within a few hours. It gets pretty crazy. Sometimes we get lines of up to 300 people at an extreme. I would have to say my favorite grilled cheese sandwich is the one that I started the whole truck, which is the cheesy mac and rib, which is southern macaroni and cheese, pulled barbecue pork, caramelized onions, and sharp cheddar cheese. So doing this is it's a liberating experience. It's nice to be able to watch the fruits of your labor and somebody out in front of the truck just biting that sandwich and know that your hard work has paid off.
the grilled cheese invitational that I've been referring to. It's actually here in Los Angeles. It's a grilled cheese cook-off, and it's pretty crazy, as you can see. So there's a lot of people who like grilled cheese sandwiches. Sorry, I'm going to cut that short, but it's online if you want to see the rest of it. But one last thing that, again, I'm just sort of running through this really quickly, but one last thing that we recently did for Tillamook was we actually created this concept called a cheese witch. So you'll see one there in the middle where we grilled Drew Carey's face onto a grilled cheese sandwich. We actually did this for over 100 celebrities, and we tweeted them, and they tweeted us back. So this is Drew Carey saying "Fat Drew" on a grilled cheese. It was sort of fun to sort of just get that sort of out there, and we found that a lot of fans wanted this, so we actually created a Facebook app, which actually lets you upload a photo and grill your face onto a grilled cheese sandwich. So there's a mobile app coming for that, actually. So I wanted to sort of save the last part of this conversation really to sort of just give you sort of what I've learned over the course of 10 years and sort of the mistakes that I've made and so forth, so hopefully you can benefit from them. Because I figured that's probably useful for you. So anyways, how I ended up here. So quick background, I grew up in Manhattan. That's Manhattan, Kansas, not Manhattan in New York. So if you guys don't know where that is, it's there in the middle of the United States. That was our water tower, actually. It's called the Little Apple. So I never knew what that meant when I was growing up, but now I do. I love to draw and make things, so ever since I was little, my parents said I'd always go everywhere with scissors and glue and stuff like that. And I wanted to go to design school, so when I was in high school I told my parents, hey, I want to go to design school. They said no. They said, if you want to go to design school, that's great, we're not going to pay for it. And they tried to convince me to go get a liberal arts education. So I did that, and there's a lot that I'm going to skip through between college and 1999, but the short version is, if anything, college was a place where, even though I didn't actually go to design school, I designed everything that I could, meaning, if there was a play, I designed the poster. If there was student advertising coupon books, I would do that. And I look back at that and it's so horrible, and I guess it's a good thing to be able to look back at your work and say, wow, that was really bad, because it means you've learned something since then. But what ended up happening, and I'm going to jump through sort of a lot of my history, but what happened was, it was sort of just following what I loved. And so, when I sort of came out of college, I realized I really wanted design, and so I thought I'd go work for, I'd built a portfolio on the side, and I showed it to a lot of people, and basically I went to work for a designer that I really admired named Clement Mock up in San Francisco. And Clement used to be one of the creative directors at Apple, and was doing really innovative work back in the dot-com days. And so that's where I really started and learned that maybe I can do this as a career. I worked for another design agency here in Santa Monica called Cow. It was started by 5 Art Center students, and learned a ton from them. And that's actually where I met my future business partner, Hiro Niwa. He's a quiet Japanese guy. Never thought we'd be business partners. But after he'd worked there for maybe 5 years or so, he went out to freelance, and the Getty Museum called me and asked if we wanted to pitch, and I invited Hiro to join me, and that's how we started. Basically, we had pitched them with a sort of concept book, and unlike our typical proposal where you just sort of put in scope, time frame, budget, we actually pitched them on the future of what a museum could be like, customized itineraries and a site for kids and things like this. And on the cover, Hiro had written something very literal, like why the Getty should hire us or something. And I deleted that and put in big green letters, hello, meet David and Hiro. And the funny thing is they thought that was the name for our company. So that's sort of how we became Hello Design. We thought it made sense. It was about communication, it was a greeting. You don't say hello to somebody you don't have a relationship with. So that's how we started Hello. We started out of our apartments, and then we actually decided that we needed to get a real office space. And so we did that. This is our first office space. This is back in '99. This is what happened in the first 6 months. So it went from Hero and me to like, I don't know, it was like 12 people. It was like a sweatshop. Clients, I think Neutrogena at the time was one of our clients and came in, they were just like in shock. Like, you work here? And we thought it was normal, but I realized that probably not normal. We moved to the biggest space, we went from the small space in the corner of our building to the biggest space in our building within the first 6 months. So this is the space that we moved into in year 1. And this is what it looks like. These are my toys. I just had to throw those in there because I like toys. And Star Wars. We like to make stuff, so we've made buttons. If you look closely, there's some interesting ones in there. We've made a bunch of t-shirts. This is our interactive t-shirt. It's a bunch of grid cubes, and you get a Sharpie marker with your t-shirt, so you can actually fill in the grids and make your own messages. I wore that to Bank of America in downtown Culver City, and she thought it was pretty funny. We made this mug just for fun, actually, and I guess Hal liked it and put it on the cover of their magazine, so you never know. It's Halloween soon, so I thought we'd share with you what we do every Halloween. We carve pumpkins. Somebody actually, there's always Hello Kitty jokes, so I had to like show that, yes, we do get them. People dress up their dogs. We've done everything where we just like, paint toys and, do stuff like this. We've built multi-touch tables. This was back when Surface and other stuff wasn't even available, so we just built our own. We have a foosball table. Had to get that in there. We have foosball tournaments where you actually can win real trophies. And we do events like go-kart racing. So this is where we are today. We actually just moved 2 weeks ago to a brand new space in Culver City down the street. So we actually grew that space that you just saw. And so these are some images of our new space. It's a little bigger. And then I figured, somebody asked me to give some advice. So the way I figured it is, it's my 2 cents. This is stuff I believe in. You may think it's stupid, but if you find it useful, please feel free to use it. So my 2 cents. Do good work and everything else happens. This is a fundamental sort of core philosophy of us at Hello. We've always had this since day 1. And we've really always focused on that. We've never had a new business person. When we first started, we just started doing good work. And I feel like, that leads to everything else. It leads to great clients. It leads to winning awards. It leads to getting great talent. It leads to everything. So it sounds super simple, but this is probably the most important thing for us at Hello. Be passionate. This is like a no-brainer, but you can't believe how many people aren't passionate. You have to love what you do, and I think this is really important, that passion always shows. So whatever you do, the sort of idea of loving what you do, I think is really important. You have to, be passionate. Act as if you have nothing to lose. So for me, when I first started Hello, I put in all my savings to start Hello, which wasn't very much. One of my friends said to me, I was riding in her car, and she basically was like, "David, are you sure you want to start this business? I think it's really stupid. I think you're gonna, go out of business or something." And she was trying to be nice, actually. It wasn't like she was trying to be negative or something. I think she was just trying to be honest, that she felt like it was really tough. And for me, it was like, what do you mean? What am I gonna lose? The worst thing that's gonna happen to me is I have to go get a job. I mean, if you really think about it, I really had nothing to lose. And so I always sort of think about that every day. The fact that, at the end of the day is if you act as if you had nothing to lose, you have nothing to fear. Good enough is never enough. For us, what I mean by that is there's so many times when, you're willing to sort of compromise, decision by committee, or, yeah, it's good enough, they're not gonna care. We have this reverse mentality of really trying to shock and awe. So the idea that if a client expects, 5 things, you deliver 50, it's like you totally just boom, and they're like, oh my God, what is this? So we find that works really well for us. No timesheets. I was a designer before, so I know how that works. I made stuff up all the time. It was like 4 hours, working hard, and it's like lunch break, 10 minutes. And then, it's like, at the end of the day, timesheets for me don't equal better work, right? I mean, everybody has 24 hours. At the end of the day, I think what's most important is that you do good work. And so again, we feel like timesheets is not how we are going to succeed. We have this idea of don't nickel and dime. So what that means is like, there's so many, I don't know, I've heard this from other clients, but we don't do it, where every little change is a change order. It's like, oh, you want to move that 2 pixels, that's like $100, or, you want to change the color, that's like 2 days of work, or whatever it is, and people get frustrated. I think that, at the end of the day, we're trying to do great work. And so what that means is that, we're willing to invest our own time because we want it to be great. So focus on the dollars, not the cents. So I feel like, what's important is that you're willing to invest in your clients. We have this other idea called creative currency, which basically means that it means you're getting paid in all other forms other than money. So what that means is it's what I'm talking about. It's like if you go above and beyond, and you really put in extra. It's called creative currency, and the reason I call it creative currency is because the client has to understand its value, right? So if the client doesn't know that you're doing something above and beyond, they don't value it. So you've got to make sure they understand that you're going above and beyond for sure. But it always pays you back. You just never know when. And so an example is we do a lot of nonprofit work, and we often do it at loss, where we're not making money on it. We actually may be paying them to do it. But at the end of the day, it always pays us back. And there's so many stories I can talk about where we've done work for schools or museums or nonprofits, and it's always come back and rewarded us. So that leads to my other point, which is do good. The fact is, since day one, for the past 13 years, our first client was a Getty. We've worked for practically all the major museums here in Los Angeles, LACMA, the Hammer Museum, the Andy Warhol Foundation in New York. We've worked for a ton of these museums and nonprofits. Schools, we did SciArc and Otis. We actually just launched UCLA Architecture this week, so if you want to go check that out, that just launched. But the idea is that, this stuff is something that we do because we want to do it. It's not because we're trying to make money, it's because we really want to do it. And so again, it always pays you back. Follow up with that is treat everyone with equal respect, regardless of size. So if they're a tiny nonprofit organization, it's so easy to go, oh, they have no money, I'm not going to spend time on it. Then don't do the work. Don't take it on. If you can't do it, don't do it. So for us, regardless of scale, whether they're big or they're small, we treat them with equal respect. Find brave clients. For us, we use the word brave because you want clients that are willing to take risks and be innovative. And so it's harder than you think, but you really want clients that are willing to trust you and empower you. So this is pretty important. Go with your gut always. For us, what that means is in anything. I mean, it could be anything from a client to, hey, should I take on this project, to should I hire this person, should I collaborate with this artist, whatever. Your gut actually means a lot. And I think often we sort of try to rationalize and sort of be really logical, like pros and cons, and you go down the list and stuff. At the end of the day, every time I've done that, it's come back and haunted me. So the reality is, if you have a gut feeling, go with it. Attitude matters a lot, and what I mean by that is for you as an individual, as well as for the people you work with. I mean, I think attitude probably matters more than talent, because if somebody's passionate and they have good attitude, they have the ability to learn. And if you don't, then you're not going to learn. So I think at the end of the day, this idea of having a good attitude is what you need to do good work. Sketch. So part of the creative process for us is we have this idea of sketching fast and furious, which means, ideas come at the weirdest time, and just scribble it down on paper. It can look like crap. I mean, you don't need to sort of make it look beautiful, because to be honest, as we sort of go through our process in the studio, we've got sketches that nobody can really read. But it's funny because we use those as sort of our sort of blueprints sometimes. So this idea of sketching on paper is really important for us. My advice on brainstorming, I've seen so many times you're trying to get from point A to B and you're trying to come up with some brilliant idea. At the end of the day, the best way to do this, I think, is you really have to realize that you have to fail a lot. So you have to get to what I call A and a half first. And that means you've got to be willing to let your guard down and throw out stupid ideas and things that you're not sure about. I think sometimes people really want to make sure they've got some brilliant idea. The reality is that if you throw out those ideas, somebody else might build off of that idea, and so you need to get to A.5 before you can get to B. Do more with less. This is from the fact that we started with just 2 people in our business, and every day, even though we've been around over a decade, I still feel like we're a startup. So I think that this is an important point, that even if you get bigger, we're bigger now, you can still do more with less. And I think this is really important, because if you don't, you actually don't do better work. Do things that scare you. I think this idea for me is the fact that if you're not a little scared, we pitched an idea to the LA Phil for Gustavo Dudamel when he came in to do an iPhone app that uses a accelerometer to slow up or speed up music, so it's like using your iPhone as a conductor's baton. We had no idea how to do that when we told them that, but they liked it, and we did it. And so I think the point is you have to be a little scared if you want to continue to innovate. Do a few things well. Actually, no, do one thing brilliantly. I think for us, there's a lot of schools. I used to teach at Art Center, and I feel like there's this mentality of be jack of all trades. And the reality is, we're in a pretty specialized field. The reality is there's so many different kinds of talents, everyone from video to design to animation to UX to you name it, programming and development. Do one thing really well, That's how you're going to stand out. It's not do everything else mediocre. We have this philosophy of show, don't tell, which basically means don't just talk. I mean, there's a lot of people who say oh, I wish I could open a cafe one day, or people say I'm the best. I've had people email me I'm the best Photoshop artist in the world or something, and it'd be well, just show me, don't tell me. And so this idea is really important, that you show, don't tell. So at the end of the day, if you do this, everybody will know. Believe in your ideas or no one else will. There's been so many times when you can be in sort of a presentation with a client or a crit. If you don't believe in your own ideas, who's going to? You're waiting for the guy next to you, go, oh my God, that's the best idea ever. I mean, yeah, they might, but at the end of the day, you've got to really believe in what you think is right. Choose wisely, you are what you do. So we have this idea that you have to choose who you work with, people, clients, very, very carefully. So for example, if I started doing a bunch of, bakery websites, I'll probably get to be known very quickly as the bakery website master. People go to that guy, he can do your bakery website really well. If you don't want to do bakery websites, don't do that. So this idea of choosing who you work with and what you do is really important. Always take shots on goal. So again, if you don't try, you have no chance. And this is probably a cliche and everyone talks about it, but I had to throw it in there. Give it 150%, even if you lose, it's okay. What is this in reference to? In particular, this is to pitches, right? When you're up against other creatives, some of them could be really good, maybe even better than you. If you give it 150%, it's okay if you lose. And to be honest, I feel like anytime we've ever done this, where we've actually given 150%, in your gut, right? We've always won. And I feel like if you lose, it is okay, But the reality is often when you don't, you sort of know, you're yeah, that wasn't quite 150%. Work with people you admire. So both in terms of the people that are around you, the people you want to learn from. Again, it's a no-brainer, but the reality is that this is how you get better. Don't take it personally, meaning that as a creative person, you may be really gung-ho about an idea and somebody might shoot it down, or maybe the client shoots it down. I've been there many times when I think I've got a great idea and the client's just yeah, I really don't like it. And you can't take it personally, because at the end of the day, ideas are sort of what value we have as creatives. And so at the end of the day, there's plenty of that, right? That, if you've got one idea, you probably have 1,000 ideas. And so maybe it's just finding the right one. Travel, this again is a no-brainer, but I've met people before that haven't traveled, and I think the reason this is important for a creative person is it just gives you a different perspective. Find a sounding board. So this idea of being able to find somebody that you can ask questions and sort of, be more neutral, I think is important for me over the past 10 years. There's a guy that I have as a sounding board, and he's not a creative person at all. He's in finance or something, and he's a friend, and he's a great sounding board because he doesn't know anything really about what I do. And so whenever I talk to him, I feel like it's much more objective. And so that's important. If you find other people that are going to just tell you what you want to hear, you're not going to get good advice. Opportunity is everywhere. So the thing is, for me, I really believe in this, that when like a Tillamook cheese knocks on the door, I get really excited. Some people might be like, cheese, I don't know, like, you know, it's like, for me, to be honest, like, there is opportunity everywhere. You just have to find it. Never stop learning. So again, one of those 101 things. But the reality is, there's a lot of people I've worked with that stopped learning. Like, there's a designer I used to work with, and he was really good. And then, you know, 5 years later, I worked with him again, and his work looked like the same as it was 5 years ago. Like, he hadn't learned anything. Like, it was like he was stuck back in like 1999. And so I think it is important that you never stop learning. So this idea that, you know, whatever I do today is going to be different tomorrow, I think is an exciting thing. Be desired. So for me, what this means is that the idea here is that you want to be somebody that people want to work with. So this is our new business strategy. So instead of sort of knocking on people's doors and going, hey, will you please work with us, we want them knocking on our doors. And if all else fails, work harder than everyone else. Thank you.